Alright, calling it now. We're going to make it all the way to round 20. First attempt. And nothing you can say will dissuade me. Because I have seen the truth. And this is that truth. Still so confused as to where I have that one imagination from, because I swear I didn't pick it up. Well, that's just sad. Alright. So it is. I think it's 25 for one Imaginite. I think we've got enough. I hope. Do we have enough for... Do we have enough for one Imaginite? That's all we need. At least I think that's all we need. Well, it will be all we need, because as I've already called, we're making it first time. Not necessarily all the way to the end. We're making at least around 20. Calling it now. I should add a note that actually Battle Infestation is bugged at the moment, and this will become significant from round 19 onwards, in that the mechs won't attack, basically. Or to be more specific, mech invaders won't attack. Alright. Let us go. Yeah. Okay, that last one was just me. So that was meant to be me attempting to impersonate that introduction, but that final one just ended up being me impersonating a Minecraft villager. 10 out of 10 would do so again. How would you hit me? Beg to differ. From the hollow lights, this is the dawning of the rest of our lives, on holiday. And in case you're wondering, what you just heard was a series of dogs howling out of key to a hymn called Faith and Misery. It's too easy to make the dog howling out of key joke every time I sing that song badly. Or equivalently every time I sing that song. Well, rip that. Let's equip those. Got a good number. That'll probably survive me for a while. It's almost a single spiderling. Look at this. Pro gaming. Spin around whilst moving in one direction. Too good. Ow. Stop it. Stop it, I said. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. There you are. Look at that level of prescience. Could tell in advance. They should hire me to predict election results. I wouldn't even need to have the election then, I'd just know in advance. Although the fact that I would know in advance would in itself potentially change the election result, meaning that any predictions I would be able to make would be inherently flawed. Bit of a shame, but you know, that's how being psychic goes sometimes. Oh, hello. Lots of you. Prefer then not to be as many of you. Thank you. Much appreciated. I'm dead. Sorry, what did I say? So yeah, first run of today. We're going to be making it to level to wave 20. First time, I'm calling it now. Yeah, should be good. I've seen it. This will happen. I've seen it foretold to me, just as I once, as legend has it, foretold my own sneeze. Just as that happened, so too shall this come to pass. Just inserting the phrase "come to pass" makes literally anything you say sound more biblical. Very useful technique if, like me, you like making random stuff you say sound fancy and pretentious. Which I do. I get significant enjoyment out of that. More than I should, arguably. Now I just have Holiday by Green Day stuck in my head. Make one joke about it and it is in my head for the rest of the day. Wow, I'm still alive. I shouldn't be. So what, it's 3 coins per Stromling. So I have to smash 14 Stromlings per heal for it to be worth the health kits. Which honestly seems kind of reasonable. Because 14 Stromlings per heal, that's about 3 Stromlings for every time I get hit. Which actually, like, that is fairly reasonable. I mean, obviously that only works for literally the first 2 rounds. But, you know, take what you can get. Because, yeah, many rounds after, like, that guy dropped, I think these are both dropping 3 coins each. Certainly not significantly more than that, at any rate. Which is all that really matters. It's interesting how I have a tendency to almost go to top-down mode some of the time. Especially when I'm, like, circling enemies and fighting a group of them. Which is exactly what I do for Murgle Blotch as well. Which, I mean, makes sense, because I am intentionally trying to go for the same tactic for Murgle Blotch that I would for a large group of enemies. Well, okay, slightly minorly different tactics, because of course you have the whole strat of trying to isolate a single enemy from a group. Lots of the time. Although, realistically, I only ever do that when I'm down to groupings of enemies that are only 2 enemies. Hello, that's a lot of enemies. Hey there. Doink. And hey, this is our First run of today. I was going to say our record for today. I don't know what I was talking about. This is our first run of today. I'm starting way too far to one side for round 5 there. We don't talk about that. Every time I go quiet now, I want you to know that all that is going around my head is Green Day lyrics. This is not good. It isn't good, but do you have the time to listen to me whine about it? I'm one of those melodramatic fools. Let's actually heal up for this. Wee, doink. Well, good news is that I no longer have a holiday in my head. No, now I have basket case. Great. It's not what I was intending. Scary. Didn't retreat quickly enough. Oh, sorry, I retreated too quickly. No, no, why? Why is this in my head now? I mean, I know exactly why this is in my head, but why did I do this to myself? More importantly, why did I not realise that I was doing this to myself? Yeah, well, I'm just going to head out of here. That's enough to de-aggro almost everything. And fortunately, that's all I needed to de-aggro. Oh, heal. A little bit careful there. Oh, there are more of you than I expected. Okay, that explains it. That explains it a lot. Okay, that's good. And look at me actually picking up money so I don't go bankrupt by doing this. I still think I'm definitely losing money, but it's fine. That was actually quite scary. No, where's that one remaining? Okay, we got a mech. How am I going to de-aggro this? I feel like I want to go up here to de-aggro the spiderling. Remain here a second. Then go along here to de-aggro that guy. And then come back to re-aggro the mech. There we are. Look at that planning and execution. It's almost as though I've done these stupid things like many, many times by now and should know what I'm doing. Almost like that, not quite though. Malcontent is a good word. My apologies to that very confused hammer strongling, who put a lot of work into getting there only for me to just stunlock him. I thought I'd been attacked from range. Okay, I can't be bothered to continue that stupid I haven't done a run yet meme because it's not even that funny. Look at me making a positive return on my investment. It's almost as though hardcore bonds was a good financial decision. Almost. Where's the one earlier there? Okay. No. I stopped talking for like a second and then in my head. Do you have the time to listen to me whine about everything and nothing all at once? I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I've had enough. And then that's where my memory of that song goes. I can keep doing the tune in my head, but I have absolutely no idea what the lyrics are after that point. Or at least not contiguously after that point. Look at me using a long word. Potentially incorrectly. So, continuous refers to the proper... So yeah, continuous is basically like you can go along without a break. Contiguous is... continuous is there exists a series of regions such that you can move... regions that can be moved within without a break. Contiguous is can move everywhere within the region without a break, if I recall correctly. Or that's the difference between the two of them. So one of them you're allowed regions which are... Oh yeah, and break is dubious. As well. But yeah. I was trying to work something out earlier today, which is basically what on earth, if you're dealing with not diffraction, if you're dealing with something which is a band structure, which is a fractal, what does that mean for the group velocity? I guess I'm kind of asking what the group velocity is on the bound. Does that just mean the group velocity is like everywhere 0? Basically, something like that. So for those who don't know, group velocity, it's coming back to being another hardcore bonds with me talking about physics. For those who don't know, group velocity is basically it encodes the fact that the progression of a wave may not... The speed at which, like, oscillations occur in a wave may not be the same speed at which information is carried in a wave. Which is the reason for the thing I have mentioned in the past on one of these, which is that effect where something drops down a hole appears to make whoop, whoop, noises. And I'm just checking, did I get that right? Yeah, I got that right. It's whoop, not ooh. Oh, why am I running this direction? Let's de-aggro that. I'm just assuming I aggroed it. Also, hopefully did aggro the Stromling, and hopefully that won't have de-aggroed. Cool. That all worked out actually quite well. I'd prefer it if I could get the Stromling isolated from the mech here, but let's just do that instead. That was actually that was some incredible gameplay there of just me desperately attempting to walk up this ledge and repeatedly correcting and just holding myself in place. Oops. Yeah, so like if you've got So yeah, basically group velocity codes the rate at which information is transmitted along a wave rather than the speed of the waves themselves as they propagate. I'm trying to come up with a good example. So, okay. Oh, actually, the nicest example I can think of is like AM and FM radio, but unfortunately, I'm fairly certain the group velocity and phase velocity actually come out to be exactly the same for those. So, in theory, a good, relevant example to anyone who, I don't know, enjoys radios and how they work, but completely irrelevant for the actual thing I'm trying to discuss. Yeah, so basically, I guess the idea is, let's imagine that I have a tank of water and I repeatedly swoosh my hand back and forth in that tank of water. That's going to generate some waves, and those waves are going to travel to the other side. But note, I can't actually carry any information with those waves. In order for a wave to carry information, I have to be able to change it. I have to be able to update it. And me just doing one thing repeatedly, indefinitely, well, that can't carry any information. Like, how do I transmit ones and zeros along something that is perfectly steady and unchanging? By definition of it being perfectly steady and unchanging, it can't possibly encode any information because it's all the its entirety, like the phrase "it is steady and unchanging," defines it for all times. So there's, like, by definition, no possible way I can change it whilst it still is steady and unchanging. There's no extra information it can possibly carry. So the question is then, okay, given we know the speed at which an actual wave propagates, how can we then, what happens, like, we know we've got the speed, but we also know that's not actually the speed at which signals are carried by it, which is interesting, right? That's a little bit odd. So there's then the question of, okay, wait a second, well, how fast are signals carried by a wave? And basically the way we do that is we imagine an incredibly, almost infinite, well, I say almost infinitely, just infinitely slowly transmitted signal. So basically, and the thing is, this again doesn't actually carry information, but it's a better approximation. There are times when this breaks down. So this is the standard like derivation of this thing called the group velocity, but it is kind of fundamentally incorrect. Or it's not incorrect, but it's fundamentally an approximation, and it's worth noting that there are definitely times when it does break down. A really important example would be doubly negative metamaterials. But yes, so because those actually, the theory behind them says that they should be transmitted faster than they should transmit signals actually at a negative speed. And the way we basically do this is we find that if you overlay two waves which have a really similar frequency, come on, okay, there we are. If you overlay two waves that have a really similar frequency, well, instantaneously, you're not going to be able to tell that they are actually two different frequencies. They're going to look pretty much like the same frequency. But what will happen is that over time, one will slowly drift ahead. I'm dead. One will slowly drift ahead of the other. And also, I think I should head off now. This is going to be quite a short, but actually, I guess this is probably on the order of half an hour, I don't know. 24 minutes, yeah, I mean, this is actually like reasonable video length, so maybe I'll leave it here. Basically, yeah, summary of the random physics is that, yeah, you work out group velocity by considering the difference in phase velocity between two waves, which are very similar but not exactly equal in frequency, and you basically work out as those drift in and out of phase, there are going to be points where, when they're completely out of phase, it's going to be 0. When they're completely in phase, it's going to be constructively interfering, and so you're going to get like a wave packet, and we can model that as how we transfer information. And if you have two things next to one another, if you have like two frequencies next to one another, that's a good way of modeling group velocity. The question, and the thing that makes this difficult, is what happens if for any particular point you have like a frequency that can't transmit information directly next to it, and that's weird, and that I don't understand. But yes, I'm going to call this for now. Thank you for watching. I've been Introverted. See you around.